Hi, this is Ms. Zelda, the Ms. Volgotha Deadly Events anchor. Today we are going to bring the sad news and event of the assassination of a renamed actor, Jonathan Joss. A voice stilled remembering Jonathan Joss. The world of entertainment is often a source of joy and escapism, yet it is also a world populated by individuals whose lives, like any other, can be touched by profound tragedy. Jonathan Joss was one such individual, an actor whose voice brought a beloved character to life for millions. He was known to many as the distinctive voice of John Redcorn on the iconic animated series King of the Hill. His sudden and violent death on June 1, 2025, sent shockwaves far beyond his home in San Antonio, Texas. This event has left a void in the hearts of fans, colleagues, and loved ones, prompting a period of mourning and difficult questions. Joss's contribution to television was significant. He lent his unique vocal talents to a character that became a staple of American pop culture. John Redcorn was more than just a recurring figure. He was a nuanced portrayal that Joss inhabited with skill. Beyond his most famous role, Joss was a working actor who navigated the complexities of the entertainment industry for decades. His presence was particularly meaningful as a Native American actor, representing a community often underrepresented on screen. His passing is not just the loss of a talent, but the silencing of a voice that resonated with many for its authenticity and warmth. The circumstances surrounding his death are deeply disturbing, adding a layer of sorrow to an already tragic event. Reports indicate a violent end, a stark contrast to the gentle and often humorous character he portrayed. As details continue to emerge, the public grapples with the senselessness of such an act. Joss was a man who had recently faced significant personal hardship, making his untimely demise even more poignant. The community is left to reconcile the image of the performer with the vulnerability of the man. This essay aims to explore the known facts surrounding Jonathan Joss's tragic passing. We will delve into the events leading up to that fateful day, examine his career and the impact he made, and reflect on the broader implications of such violence. It is a story that calls for sober reflection and a renewed commitment to understanding and compassion. The loss of Jonathan Joss is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of addressing the undercurrents of discord that can lead to such devastating outcomes. We remember him not only for his work, but for the life that was tragically cut short.
The unfolding tragedy, details of a fatal encounter. The final day of Jonathan Joss's life ended in an act of violence that has left a community in shock and mourning. On Sunday, June 1, 2025, at approximately 7 p.m., the voice actor was fatally shot in San Antonio, Texas. The incident occurred near what was once his family home on Dorsey Drive, a place that held deep personal history for him. Police officers arrived at the scene to find Joss, whose legal name was Jonathan Joss Gonzalez, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Despite the immediate efforts of first responders to provide life-saving measures, his injuries proved too severe. Mr. Joss was pronounced dead at the scene. He was 59 years old. The suddenness of his death under such violent circumstances has been difficult for many to comprehend. The location itself, his former home, adds another layer of sorrow, as it was a place already marked by recent personal tragedy for Joss. The preliminary details painted a grim picture of a life extinguished too soon, sparking an immediate and intensive investigation by local authorities. The San Antonio Police Department quickly began to piece together the events that led to the shooting. In the aftermath of the incident, law enforcement acted swiftly. A suspect, identified as 56-year-old Sigfredo Alvarez Seja, was apprehended a short distance from the scene. Reports indicate that Seja attempted to flee in a vehicle but was quickly located and taken into custody by officers. He has since been booked for murder, and his bond has been set at $200,000. The arrest of a suspect brought a small measure of procedural resolution, but it marked only the beginning of the legal process and the quest for answers. The investigation into Joss's death is ongoing. Homicide detectives are meticulously gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses to construct a comprehensive timeline of events. The motive behind the shooting remains a central question, with different perspectives emerging from those close to the situation. Understanding why this tragedy occurred is crucial, not only for delivering justice but also for helping a grieving community find some semblance of closure. The facts, as they are uncovered, will be critical in painting a clearer picture of this senseless act of violence.
Conflicting accounts. The search for motive. One of the most distressing aspects of Jonathan Joss's death is the contention surrounding the possible motive. Joss's husband, Tristan Kern de Gonzalez, has publicly stated his belief that the murder was a homophobic hate crime. In a heartfelt and anguished Facebook post, de Gonzalez alleged that he and Joss had endured over 2 years of homophobic harassment. He claimed they had received threats that their house would be burned down, and that these incidents were reported to law enforcement multiple times, seemingly with no definitive action taken to ensure their safety or address the alleged perpetrators. It was there, he claims, they discovered the skull of one of their deceased dogs along with its harness. This grim discovery understandably caused them severe emotional distress. De Gonzalez described that as they were visibly upset, yelling and crying, a man, allegedly Sigfredo Alvarez Queja, approached them. He asserts the man shouted violent homophobic slurs before firing a gun. In this harrowing narrative, de Gonzalez also credits Joss with saving his life. However, the San Antonio Police Department issued a statement on June 2, 2025, which offered a different initial assessment. Law enforcement officials stated that, at that point in the investigation, they had found no evidence to indicate that Mr. Joss's murder was related to his sexual orientation. The investigation continues to explore all possible angles.
Community perspectives and unanswered questions. TMZ, for instance, suggested that the shooting occurred after a disagreement between Joss and a neighbor, identified as the suspect Sigfredo Alvarez Seja. This discovery, as per the witness accounts shared with TMZ, purportedly caused Joss to become understandably enraged. Frames the subsequent confrontation as a dispute that escalated tragically, rather than a premeditated attack based on Joss's sexual orientation. It is important to note these are initial reports from witnesses and are part of the broader picture the investigation is trying to clarify. The divergence between Tristan Kern de Gonzalez's account of a homophobic attack and the neighbor's reported version of an escalated dispute underscores the challenges in piecing together the truth. The full context of these interactions remains crucial for a complete understanding. Ultimately, the responsibility for determining the precise sequence of events and the motive behind the killing rests with the San Antonio Police Department and the ongoing investigation. It is a situation filled with grief, anger, and many unanswered questions. The community, and indeed the wider public, await further information.
The home, located in San Antonio, was not just a structure, it was imbued with deep familial history, having been built by Joss's father in 1957. The emotional toll of these combined losses, his home and his pets, is difficult to fully quantify, but must have been substantial. He had told local reporters in January 2025 that he did not have a job at the time.
Section 6. A public display of distress, the ATX Festival incident. Just days before his untimely death, Jonathan Joss made an appearance that in retrospect seems to have been a public manifestation of his recent struggles and emotional turmoil. On Friday, May 30th, 2025, Joss attended a King of the Hill reunion and revival panel at the ATX Television Festival in Austin, Texas. This event, meant to celebrate the show's legacy and upcoming return, unfortunately became a platform for Joss to voice his personal pain in an unexpected manner, highlighting the pressures he was under. During the panel discussion, Joss approached an audience microphone unannounced. This was not a planned part of the program. He took this opportunity to speak directly to the audience and, implicitly, to his colleagues and the industry. He began by mentioning the recent passing of another King of the Hill talent, writer Johnny Hardwick, acknowledging a fellow loss within their creative family. He then expressed his own feelings of being overlooked, stating his displeasure at not having been invited to sit on stage with the other panelists, a sentiment that perhaps spoke to a deeper feeling of marginalization. It was then that Joss publicly shared some of the severe hardships he had been enduring. He told the audience that his San Antonio home had recently burned down. Crucially, in that moment, he explicitly linked this devastating event to his identity, stating that he believed the fire happened because I'm gay. This public declaration, connecting the loss of his home to alleged homophobic persecution, was a stark and vulnerable admission, suggesting he felt targeted and perhaps desperate for his plight to be recognized and understood by a wider audience. Following his impromptu comments, eyewitnesses reported to People magazine that Joss was escorted out of the theater by security personnel. Importantly, these accounts noted that he left calmly and cooperatively without causing any further disruption. This incident, occurring so close to his death, now appears as a poignant cry for help, or at the very least, a powerful expression of the distress he was experiencing. It underscores the immense pressure he was under, grappling with loss, alleged harassment, and perhaps a sense of professional insecurity, all of which he brought into a public forum.
Section 7. The Enduring Legacy of Jonathan Joss. A Career in Review. Jonathan Joss's career, though tragically cut short, left an indelible mark on the landscape of television and film, particularly through his voice work. He is overwhelmingly recognized for his role as John Redcorn in the critically acclaimed animated series King of the Hill. Joss took over the role in the show's second season, following the death of the original voice actor Victor Aaron in 1996. For over a dozen seasons, his distinctive resonant voice gave life to the character, making John Redcorn a memorable and complex figure within the show's universe, known for his stoic demeanor, his affair with Nancy Gribble, and his Native American heritage. The significance of his work on King of the Hill was set to continue. Joss had already recorded lines for the highly anticipated revival of the series, slated to premiere on Hulu on August 4, 2025. Reports confirm that his voice will be featured in at least the second episode of the new season, and possibly more, allowing fans one last opportunity to hear him embody the character he so masterfully portrayed. This posthumous appearance will undoubtedly be a poignant moment for viewers and a testament to his enduring contribution to the beloved show. Beyond Arlen, Texas, Joss's talent graced numerous other productions. He memorably played Chief Ken Hotate, the pragmatic and often humorous Wamapoke tribal leader, in several episodes of the popular sitcom Parks and Recreation. His screen credits also include roles in prominent films and television series such as Tulsa King, Ray Donovan, The Coen Brothers' True Grit, 2010, The Magnificent Seven, 2016, and Friday Night Lights. Each of these roles showcased his versatility as an actor, capable of both dramatic and comedic performances. As a Native American actor of Comanche and Apache descent, Jonathan Joss also brought important representation to Hollywood. His career provided visibility for indigenous performers in an industry where such representation has historically been lacking or stereotyped. His most recent acting credit before his passing was voicing a character in the popular video game Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty in 2023, demonstrating his continued relevance across various entertainment mediums. His body of work remains a legacy of a unique talent who connected with audiences through his distinctive voice and compelling character portrayals.
Section 8. When public lives meet private dangers, reflecting on past tragedies. The violent death of Jonathan Joss serves as a grim reminder of the vulnerabilities that public figures can face, where their visibility can sometimes attract unwarranted and dangerous attention. While the specific motive in Joss's case is still under investigation, the tragic outcome brings to mind other instances where individuals in the entertainment industry have been victims of violence or targeted harassment. These events, though thankfully not commonplace, send ripples of shock and fear through communities, highlighting that fame and public recognition do not grant immunity from real-world dangers and can sometimes even exacerbate them. History contains unfortunate examples of actors and other prominent personalities who have faced threats, stalking, or, in the most extreme cases, violent attacks. Figures like Rebecca Schaeffer, an actress murdered by an obsessed fan in 1989, or Gianni Versace, the fashion designer assassinated outside his home in 1997, illustrate the horrific potential for public lives to intersect with private dangers. These are not direct parallels to Joss's situation, as the circumstances differ, but they speak to a broader pattern where individuals in the public eye can become targets for reasons ranging from obsession to hate or unresolved personal vendettas. The public outcry following such incidents is often immense. There's a collective sense of disbelief that someone known for bringing entertainment or art into people's lives could meet such a brutal end. These tragedies often spark discussions about security for public figures, the responsibility of media in how individuals are portrayed, and the disturbing nature of obsession or targeted malice. For individuals from marginalized communities who achieve public recognition, like Joss, who was both Native American and openly gay, the risks can sometimes be compounded by prejudice and hate-motivated aggression, adding another layer of concern. Reflecting on these past events in light of Jonathan Joss's death encourages a deeper consideration of the safety and well-being of those who live their lives to some extent in the public sphere. It underscores the importance of taking all threats seriously and fostering an environment where individuals feel safe regardless of their profession or identity. The loss of any life to violence is a tragedy. When it befalls someone who has contributed to our shared culture, it prompts a wider societal introspection about the forces that lead to such devastating acts and what can be done to prevent them.
Section 9. Pathways to Understanding, Fostering a More Compassionate Society. The tragic end of Jonathan Joss, marked by violence and shadowed by allegations of sustained harassment, compels us to look inward as a society. Regardless of the final determination of motive in his specific case, whether a hate crime, an escalated dispute, or another cause, the circumstances surrounding his final months and moments highlight a desperate need for greater compassion, understanding, and proactive intervention when individuals voice distress or report threats. His story is a painful call to examine how we treat one another, especially those who may be perceived as different. It is imperative that reports of harassment, threats, and intimidation, particularly those targeting individuals based on their sexual orientation, race, creed, or any other aspect of their identity, are met with the utmost seriousness by communities and law enforcement alike. The assertion by Joss's husband that their pleas for help went unheeded for years is deeply troubling. If true, it points to systemic failures that can leave vulnerable individuals unprotected and isolated, creating an environment where animosity can fester and potentially escalate into violence. Every person deserves to feel safe in their home and community. Moving towards a more accepting and respectful society requires a conscious and collective effort. It begins with education, fostering empathy from a young age, and challenging prejudice wherever it arises. It means creating spaces where differences in political beliefs, religious practices, and personal identities are not just tolerated, but are genuinely embraced as integral parts of a rich and diverse human tapestry. Dialogue, open-mindedness, and a willingness to listen to experiences different from our own are crucial tools in dismantling the barriers of ignorance and fear that often fuel conflict and hatred. The memory of Jonathan Joss and others who have suffered due to intolerance or violence should serve as a catalyst for change. We can honor his life not only by remembering his contributions to entertainment, but by striving to build a world where such tragedies become unthinkable. This involves individual commitments to kindness and respect in our daily interactions, supporting organizations that fight for equality and justice, and holding accountable those who promote division and hate. It is through these concerted efforts that we can hope to cultivate a society where compassion triumphs over contempt and understanding paves the way for a more peaceful coexistence for all.